I was a successful businessman. I had quite a bit of money, and I lived at one time on Bainbridge Island, and then I moved to Indianola. And during that time period, I was pretty affluent. Over a period of time, I'd say 2.5 years, I made some financial mistakes, but also the process of my business changed. I lost many of my supporters or advertisers in what I was doing, and I began to have depression, very deep depression. In a short period of time, I began drinking more wine than necessary, and I lost my home. I had 3 cars, including an antique Cougar convertible, if you will, 3 boats, my home, my wife left. My children didn't understand where I was coming from at that time. I was a strong, successful man, and I ended up basically begging from them to try and survive, to live on a daily basis. And therefore, it was difficult for them to see this man that was very successful and strong to be sort of lost at that time. And I lived in my car for 2 years. Fortunately, I had my car, and I lived in my car with my little dog, Willow, who I call Willow the Wonder Dog, who kept me warm at night, if you will, and was a unconditional companion. And that's how I became homeless.
I think that the people of Kitsap County are probably like people everywhere. There's a percentage that is aware of homelessness, a percentage that's aware of homelessness to the point where they would know what the needs are, but there's a large percentage of people who just don't. And getting the information out is always difficult. Some people don't want to hear about it. Some people have a passing interest. So bringing the subject to the front is always an ongoing task.
Homelessness, it's not an issue in Kitsap County, nor is it a problem in our community. It's more of a Seattle area or big metropolitan area problem.
The thing about homelessness is that people accept what they can see. So if you go to Seattle and you walk around a bit and you see some of the folks laying on the street, they'll tell you, yeah, there's homelessness over in Seattle. What we see here in Kitsap County to a large extent are 2 and 3 families living together because of the it necessitates, their life necessitates that to survive they have to.
A lot of people don't understand what homelessness really is. They think that they have to be living in their car or on the street under a bridge to be homeless. But I consider people homeless that are sleeping on somebody's couch or sleeping on somebody's floor or are what we call couch surfing from place to place. So I think that the degree of homelessness in our county is far greater than what we've been able to establish in the past.
As far as homelessness goes, I think that the public really just isn't aware of how great the problem is. I talk to even family members, and I've worked in this area for years, and they always say, is there really a homeless? I don't see homeless people out there. Do we really have that big of a problem? And we do. We have a really big problem, and it's getting bigger. Some of the misconceptions about homeless people is that they all look like dirty bums on the street, and the reality is they look just like you and I look. They're just like the person next door. They're families with children, they're couples with children, they are single women and single men who've had some hardships, either through their own fault or through no fault of their own, you know, illness and that type of thing. But they look just like you and I do. They're not, you can't pick them out on the street and know that they are a homeless family.
For me, the reality is that the men who come into Benedict House are just like any other male person living in Kitsap County. They look like your father, like your brother, like your best friend, like somebody you'd like to date.
Homeless people, well, I guess they're homeless because they are addicted to drugs or alcohol, and therefore they can't keep a job or a house.
There's as much variety among the homeless as there is among the general population. People are there not just because of drugs and alcohol, but there's a large segment that's homeless because of domestic violence. Of course, in this current time, they get priced out of their homes. They can't pay the rent, or they have some medical crisis. There's a whole variety of reasons that people are homeless. A large segment, of course, has mental issues. And so housing them is difficult. There's another segment that perhaps just got out of prison. And so they have difficulty even renting a place because nobody will rent to them once they find out their background.
They're not bad people. They're people whose circumstances or disease has taken them to a place that they don't want to be any more than we want them to be there. And opening our hearts to them and understanding that there is a way back for them is a big step.
Well, homelessness, there's nothing we can do about that. Homeless people are always going to be homeless.
I had unmedicated mental illness when I tried to control it with alcohol and drugs. And I just couldn't maintain. Then I started living in my car, and my car was, you know, not the best car, and it didn't have locks on the doors, or locks didn't work. And more than once I was raped in my car. I got a flyer from a police officer, actually the one that pulled me over and took my car, but, you know, he just said, I don't feel safe, you know, I don't feel safe. And he got in the trunk of his car and he gave me this flyer. And on the flyer was a shelter for battered women. And I certainly felt battered, you know. And I called there every day for a week, because they told me, just keep calling back, keep calling back. And I did every day. And in a week, they said, come on in. And that's when my life started over.